taken advantage of, we are being bullied or abused, that can make us sick. We get upset about it. It raises our stress level, which raises our cortisol level. We tend to want to eat more comfort foods, which may have more sugar. We don't get the right amount of sleep, and it can really cause us trouble. And it gives us the personal space we need to really feel comfortable. But if we're not respected, it may leave us feeling overwhelmed, bullied, anxious, and that just causes all kinds of issues. So that's a real quick overview of why we have to set boundaries. They're just needed. And somebody asked me, what happens if I don't set boundaries? Well, we get mad and we take it out on the ones that we love. We might miss out on something that's important to me. We get resentful, we fight, and we cry. Does anybody else have any things that have happened to them when they don't set boundaries? How does that make you feel? Just put it in the chat. Yeah, angry, violated, taken advantage of. Absolutely. Okay, so again, we look at some common signs that boundaries are needed. So a boundary is needed when we feel we're being taken advantage of. And again, if we come from a household where everything was expected of us, maybe our parents were dysfunctional or we were the older children and we always had to do everything, even at our expense, we may feel like we were taken advantage of, and we don't know the difference. We don't know any better. But we're going to talk about some signs and symptoms of that tonight. And we need a boundary if saying yes to please others is at our own expense. We're giving up something of our own, and we do feel we're being taken advantage of. Not getting your needs met because you tend to fear conflict and give in. Feeling disrespected. A fear of being rejected or abandoned, which came up a lot at the workshop that I held. But like taking advantage of, maybe somebody borrows money from you and they don't ever pay it back. They ask you to drop everything to satisfy their needs. Maybe a coworker asks you to help with a big project and you have to work overtime, even when they don't treat you well otherwise. Maybe you never get a thank you for a really big favor. A lot of times children can take advantage of us and expect us to take their gym shoes to school. And this is really enabling. If they have to go barefoot one time or can't participate in gym, our kids had to ride the bus, and they didn't have cars until they actually didn't ever get to take the car to school. But it was, if they forgot their lunch or they forgot their gym shoes, that was just too bad. But I know a lot of parents are running to their kids' schools and taking care of them. And that's really a sign that some type of a boundary is needed. When we say yes, it's maybe when you're being asked to cancel an appointment so that you can take a friend someplace. You know how hard it is to set a dentist appointment, a doctor appointment. It's 6 months or longer. And if you're saying, oh, sure, I'll reschedule my doctor appointment or my dentist appointment. Now, there's always emergencies and there's always exceptions to this. But if this continues to happen, it's probably time to set a boundary. Another one is you volunteer at a food pantry and you promised 1 day a week. But now they're calling you and they expect you to be there 3 to 4 times a week. It's tough love, but that's not your problem. And if you're not getting your needs met, like in an abusive relationship, it's hard to set boundaries. but everyone deserves a healthy relationship. And so we're asking you to go slow, create a safety plan, and get the help that you need to get out. We're going to talk a little bit about how to set boundaries. And just what I want you to do is think through what you need and want. And what I'd like you to do is, not at this point, not right now, but maybe after the workshop or first thing in the morning, take some quiet time to sit down and write down and think it through what it is that you need and you want, because so many times we don't even know it. Now, again, those of you that are moms, we tend to lose our identity after raising our kids and doing all of the things, especially when we're working full time and expecting to cook healthy meals and all of that. But it's time for you to take care of yourself. And so identify the things that you need and the things that you need and want, and then write them down. And use your personal values as a guide. So those are our guided principles. It's the difference between good and bad, right and wrong. It's what we feel in our deep down in our heart. And that will help you make decisions. Again, if you think it through. Like honesty and integrity are two of my strong values. And so integrity means that I'll do what I promise I'm going to do. And that means saying no to some things, because I can't do it all. I tend to think I can, but I can't do it all. So I have to learn to say no. I have to learn to set boundaries. And then it's different relationships require different boundaries. For friends, in my opinion, it's easier to set boundaries with my friends than it would be my boss, because I might be afraid of losing my job. And it may be harder to set boundaries with your significant other, especially if you're in an abusive relationship. But practice with someone that you trust, with a coach, with a mentor. Write down what it is you want, what are your values, and what are the boundaries going to be. And then practice using I statements. Speak up respectfully, and always use I statement and talk about your feelings. When this happens, this is how I feel. And then hold your ground, which is one of the toughest ones, but it's one that it's pretty darn important. And these are the 5 questions that my coach helped me with. It really makes my decision making easier. So when someone asks you to do something for them, ask these following questions. Again, this is a writer downer. First of all, ask yourself, is this a good idea? And then, is this a good idea for me? It might be a really good idea for the world or for whatever, but is this a good idea for me? And what's the return from this for me? Now, it's not always about return on investment, and it's not always about what will I get out of this the next time, but it is, I'll only do this if not if I get something back. But it just means that, is this healthy? Does it feel good? Is it in alignment with my values? Or does it make me feel anxious or unappreciated or abused? And is it a good idea for me right now? Maybe some of the things aren't right now. Timing is everything. Maybe you're stressed at home or at work, or you have some health issues. Don't be afraid to say no. And then the number 5 is, what am I willing to give up to do this? Do I have to give up something big? Will it make me angry, resentful, frustrated? And so I'll give you an example. I have a good friend who owns a retail store, and she was going through some health issues, and her staff got the pandemic, COVID. And so she asked me if I would help out now and then. So I sat down and I thought, is this a good idea? And is it a good idea for me? And it felt like it was. It would be fun to be in retail. I had never worked in retail before, but I thought this would just be a little bit of fun. What's the return for me? It was a feel good. She was really down and out. And I could help customers. I love being with people. I could learn a little bit more about the things that she was selling. And was it good for me right now? It was. And the boundaries that I set were, so what I'd be willing to give up was some of my time. So the boundaries that I set was that, yes, I would be willing to be trained to do this. I would help out when needed, but I could always say no. And I told myself I would not feel guilty. And so she's called 5 times and I've worked 3. And she gives me enough notice if that's possible. And she'll say, can you work Saturday or Sunday? And I'll say, Sunday. It's 11 to 2. That's not 11 to 3. That's not very much. And I really have fun. I really enjoy it. Now, if I did not enjoy it, if it was way too much stress for me, which it was a little bit at first, learning the cash register and some of that stuff. But once I got that, you don't have to make change anymore. It's really interesting. It just pops up. I think that was pretty cool. But it did not make me feel angry or resentful. It gave me a good, warm feeling. I didn't expect any payment or anything, even though legally she paid me. I did not want the payment. I said, well, it'll go towards the food pantry. It wasn't about her doing me a big favor back. It just really felt good. And it still does when I get to help her out. So let's talk about how do we set boundaries. So this one is, again, not easy, but it can be done. And so I want to spend a little bit of time on this one. First of all, it's start with self-care, not like taking a bubble bath with some wine, although that's kind of fun. And that's good self-care. I enjoy it. A good book and candles, but I mean deeper self-care. It's again setting boundaries. And the biggest one is learning to say no to something when you just feel like you don't have enough time. And it's getting enough sleep. Just a simple change can make a huge difference in empowering you. It helps us make better decisions. If you're really tired, you haven't eaten, it's hard to make a decisions. And making yourself go to bed at a decent time, even when there's so much to do, like there ever would be a time when there's not too much to do, it's good practice in boundary setting. And everyone, I'm learning in my nutrition classes, everyone should get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Now, a lot of you are saying, oh, right, I would love that. But that's the goal. And try and figure out what helps you unwind at the end of the day. I know I cannot watch TV. I cannot watch the news. I cannot play on my phone. I don't have any, or we don't have any electronics in our bedroom. I do go to bed like at 9 o'clock and read for a good hour, and that calms me down. I also meditate and I write in my gratitude journal, and those are all things that help me end on a positive note. I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for every day. Sometimes they're the same ones. I drove in the snow today and didn't have an accident. Okay, that's a really good thing. I'm very grateful for that. Meditating helps too. It doesn't have to be anything weird. Just sit in silence for 5 minutes and focus on your breathing. It's amazing how much calmer you feel after you do this. This is one thing that I have done. I'm a very type A person. I just go, go, go. And so for exercise, I used to walk and run. I still walk. I did all these activities. And now what I've learned is I have to do just the opposite. I have to calm myself down. I have to sit for a minute. And I'm lucky enough that in the morning now, what I do is I start my morning with tea and watch the birds out the window. Now, I don't have to run off to work because I work from home. But the big thing for me is I do not look at my phone for the first half hour. I can't tell you how hard that was. Now, if you have kids, and especially if they're off in college and they're wherever, you want to make sure they're okay. It's just like turning my phone off at night. I turn mine off. Now, I know for parents, you have to keep your phone by your bed, but just to try and figure some little ways that you can calm yourself down. It's just pretty amazing what this does. My son asked me one time, Mom, now that you're retired, what do you do all day? And I said, well, I used to drink my tea, brush my teeth, and take a shower all at the same time. And now I get up, I have my tea, I sit for a half an hour, then I brush my teeth, then I take my shower, and then it's almost lunch. And I do my work sometimes in my bathroom because I can. I run my small business of coaching and teaching online. And I know that I'm at a very different point in my life than many of you are. I know some of you are single parents. I know that many of you have full-time jobs, but try and squeeze in a little bit of time. Just think of simple things like I can calm myself down, and then start small is another one. And surround yourself with healthy relationships too is another one of it's a really important one. I'm really lucky. I have sisters and adult children who I can confide in, and they help me gain perspective. And they also let me know sometimes that, yes, I have a right to be angry, or of course I can say no. Or I talked to my daughter yesterday because I was pretty nervous about this workshop. Now I could do all of these things in my sleep, but the technology always makes me a little nervous. And she's like, Mom, you spoke to people, 500 people in the room. And I said, yeah, but I didn't have to be making sure everyone could see the screen and all of that stuff. But once you get started, it's so much fun. But and I want to be clear, when we have conversations with friends and sisters, adult children, whatever, this conversation isn't the same as gossiping or venting just for the sake of getting it off your chest. But we should have friends and family that can say to me, you know, you're not being treated well, and you need to remove yourself from that situation. Sometimes we need someone else to give us that permission. We don't see the forest for the trees. Again, if we're in that abusive situation, it's hard for us to get out. Of course, the hardest part about gaining those close relationships is that abusive people have a way of isolating you. Every time you make a close friend, they come up with a reason that there's something wrong or dangerous about that person, and then drives them out. They try to drive them out of your life. A romantic partner may get jealous of the time that you spend with others and pout until you stay home. It works. And sometimes dating, a parent may come up with every reason, real or imagined, that your loved one that you're interested in isn't good enough for you. It's hard for parents. They don't want to lose their kids, and they want them to be safe and happy. A sister may come up with a spat with you just out of thin air to get the attention because you haven't been giving those people enough attention. And so you see the pattern emerging. It's really important to protect our healthy relationships. And if we're some of this stuff is happening to us and we can't get out of the situation, it's time to talk to a coach or a therapist, a minister, a mentor, someone. And I know those of you that are on that are in the support groups have a mentor, and I'm just so happy. Use those people. They are great volunteers. They've been where you've been. Be honest with yourself. Often when we let people mistreat us, we excuse their behavior. We think, oh my gosh, it's my fault. If only I were a better mother, if only I were a better cook, if only I were a better spouse. Recently, I had a client who said they were really mean and miserable to them for months. And she just kept allowing it to treat her that way. And I said, really? And she said, well, yeah, she's really nice when she's not being mean. And I said, did you just hear yourself? And then she realized that she was right. None of us should be treated meanly. I don't know if that's a word, but we shouldn't be treated that way. That's just not okay. That's a form of bullying. And a lot of times it's what kids can be such bullies. And it's really what they see sometimes at home, and they feel that it's okay. And so you need to stop being bullied. Easier said than done, but you can't limit a person's effect on you until you admit to yourself how dangerous they are. And sometimes, many times, again, it'll take input from other people. And we have to start small. The fourth way of setting boundaries. You're not going to be ready for a face-off with somebody just because you got 8 hours of sleep or that you made a few friends. but there are boundaries that you can set. A simple example, I would say, is passing up on an event just because you need the downtime. On Tuesday night, I was going to go to a group. I didn't have a real role in it, but I was just going to be there and help out if I could. And it was snowing. It wasn't slippery, but I just decided I needed time to get prepared for this workshop. I needed some downtime. And so I did let the people know that I wasn't coming. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a way of me saying no. Maybe it's telling your spouse that if they continue to yell, you will leave the room and then do it. Also, on a phone call, you can tell someone if they are abusing you over the phone that you're going to hang up if they continue, and then do it. Well, my point is, once you get used to flexing your no muscle, N-O, with little safe things like this, you can tackle the larger obstacles. It gets easier, I promise. Saying no will seem less scary. And then I want you to be ready for resistance. Once you've set a boundary with somebody, even if it's a really small one, there will be likely others who oppose it. They will likely question what you're doing, and you may think you're being mean or unforgiving. That was the old you. They're going to say, what happened to you? Why don't you used to keep doing this for me? Well, you can say it's the new me. I'm ready to move on. And most of the time, the hardest pushback with these boundaries will come from yourself. Some other ways to set boundaries very quickly is meet them with a person with a brief time. Don't beat yourself up about it. Do a time limit. If somebody called you and you say you have a half an hour and it's 2 hours later, set a time and say, okay, it's 25 minutes. I have 5 minutes left and then I need to hang up. And then you need to say goodbye. Now, not if someone's in crisis, but just because they're lonely or because they just want to keep talking. Be direct. Dropping hints don't work. Being passive aggressive is confusing. What is okay and what is not okay? Be really clear. Be brave. Beneficial to you in the long run. Don't let them manipulate you. They're going to use guilt and threats. Trust me. Don't explain. There's going to be just a whole lot more drama. Withhold information. Learn to withhold information, because they will have a way, the manipulative people or the narcissists, they will have a way of turning your words against you. So don't give them a whole lot of reason to do that. Don't help them through every crisis. They are masterful at creating crisis, and then they'll expect you to help them out. Don't run every time they call you. We had a poster at work when I was a social worker. It was so cute. It was in the copy room. And there were people laying on the floor laughing next to the copy machine. And it said, you need it by when? And that's kind of what made me think of this. It's don't run every time somebody cries wolf, or even to say, I'm sorry, I just can't help you out right now. I'm in the middle of this. And you have to value what you're doing. Take time out of the family members, from a family member. It's sometimes setting those boundaries and block them from social media. Don't answer their phones. Be kind but firm. If you get angry or defensive, it's not going to help. Use your phone as your aid. Like I said earlier, under no obligation to answer your phone unless it's your child or your spouse, or you're waiting for somebody to call you. I just love this one. Let them leave a message. Then you'll have time to come up with your response. Be creative with the truth. This person has little or no respect for you, and you can bend the truth. It's just important to do that sometimes. Make self-care crucial. Allow yourself permission to say no. Put yourself first, and you will have peace of mind. This is some step-by-step information. You might again want to write this down. Ask yourself, why am I afraid to set this boundary? And then think about, what are the positive things? Why am I afraid? And then how will I benefit from this boundary? Will I sleep better? Will I have less angst? Will I have less fear? Will I feel less taken advantage of? And then talk yourself through it. It's safe to create this boundary with so-and-so. I have one that one of my clients gave me. She says this over and over to herself. I give myself permission to say no to Susan, my neighbor, when she calls to ask me to watch her 3 little kids so she can take a nap. It's a true story. And this woman had her own little children, but the neighbor was taking advantage of her. And so her boundary was, I will take care of your children in a crisis or when you need to go get groceries. And then the next time I go get groceries, I would like for you to take care of my children. They even eventually ended up keeping track of the number of hours that they watched each other's children because it got to that point. Some people are just better at taking advantage of others, or they don't even know it. They just feel that that's important. But you need to say over and over, I give myself permission to set this boundary. Repeat, repeat, and repeat. So that's a lot of information. I need to stop and take a drink of water. And so, can you ask any questions about it? Yeah, somebody said, it's so interesting when we give help and help someone out over and over again, and then you ask them and they're too busy. After a while, you start to get resentful. It doesn't have to be minute for minute or even hour for hour, but it's important that we feel that person is there for us if we've been there for them too. So any questions at all about how to set boundaries and why to set boundaries and what they're all about? I have one question here. Excuse me. How to stick to a boundary without feeling guilty? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm the queen of feeling guilty, or was. I always joke that we had enough guilt when we grew up in school that we shouldn't feel guilty anymore, but we still do. So again, sort of like a disclaimer here. Remember, I don't live in your head and I'm not in your situation, but this is what I would do. I would use, somebody said, how do you communicate with them? Definitely use I statements and talk about your feelings. Those are the 2 main things. Always go back to those 5 questions. Is this a good idea? Is it a good idea for me? What will I get out of this? Good, whether it's good feelings or I know that my neighbor will watch my kids the next time. Is it good for me right now? And then what will I have to give up? And is that okay? But I would say practice with another person, discuss it with someone that you trust. You communicate by sitting down with that person. Another person says, what can I do about a coworker who pokes fun of me at work? And I can hear her. Number 1, that's not okay. That is bullying. And what I would do again is meet with this person alone. And if you're afraid of this person or afraid to meet with them alone, I would ask maybe a trusted coworker to come with me. And then using the I statements, I would say something like, I'll call her Susan. Susan, I can hear you saying things about me, how I dress, you poke fun of my glasses, and that really hurts. I would never do that about you, and I don't understand where it's coming from, and it has to stop. And if it doesn't stop, I'm going to go to our boss. I'm going to take it to the next level. And then you have to do that. You have to follow through with that. Yeah, there's another one. Someone says, I need better boundaries with my 93-year-old mother. I could write a book. I'm sure you could. Because again, I would think again, what gets in the way is, oh my God, she's 93 years old. How long am I going to have her yet? So talk about guilt. That would be unbelievable. And they're probably very lonely. They probably expect everything of them. I always tease my kids. I raised you for the first 20 years or 15. And so you better take care of me in my last 15. Jokingly, that's not what I want. I do not want to move in with my son and daughter-in-law. Carrie, if you're on here, I'm not going to be moving in with you. Trust me. But it's the boundaries are hard when the person gets older. Again, I had that same issue. I lived in the same small town with my parents, and I would drive past and my parents would be sitting out on the front yard, and my mom would kind of wave for me to come over, and I had to make supper. I had to take the kids to a sporting event because we didn't, we lived out in the country. I had 5 loads of laundry, had homework because I taught, I had to correct papers, all of that stuff. And I basically said, Mom, I'm sorry, I'm really busy. Let's plan something. And then I would take her, we would go someplace or do some things together. But I always felt guilty. I always had to really work hard on that one. Another person asked me, she said she doesn't get along with her mother-in-law, that the mother-in-law berates her. And again, what I would say there is using I statements. I would talk to my partner and I would tell him or her how I felt about that. And we know that the kid, this is the mother-in-law, so the son, let's say it's the son, would feel really stuck in the middle. And so we need to appreciate that and think about that. But we still have to set boundaries. And number one, we're not going to change these people. We're going to have to set boundaries. We can only control how we react. And to me, one of the best things is to set boundaries. So like with this mother-in-law, I would limit the number of times I go over there or the number of times that she comes over. And I would say, it's not okay to just stop in. Let's set some times. Why don't you come over every Friday night, or why don't you come over every Sunday for breakfast or something like that, and say that, I'm really busy, and try and stick to that. So someone said, I have a friend who is good to let her mom know, I will spend the day with you on Thursday once a week and we can do errands and so forth. And then I will invite you to dinner on Sundays. Elder care folks say the consistency is key. Perfect. Thank you, Lynn. That's perfect. Consistency is key. And I would think that if I knew my kids were coming over on Thursday once a week, that's what I would have to look forward to. And then we're going to run the errands together. And then let's do dinner together on Sunday. And that's really important. Yes, I know that Lynn's gone through that with her dad. So, and regular schedules. Yes. I keep saying as I get older, I want to be flexible, but by gosh, you do become less flexible, because I think we have more time. I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah, it's really interesting how that happens. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, so I want to talk about the next piece of this workshop, and I'd like to talk about setting. Would you like more help setting boundaries? This is just the tip of the iceberg. Trust me, we've been on here now for almost an hour, so we'll keep moving. But you have 2 choices. You can set boundaries all by yourself, and I'm sure you're very capable, or we could do this together. And so what I did was, last year I created a course called Take Control of the Holidays. And I offered it face-to-face, and only a couple of people came for a whole lot of reasons. It was kind of silly of me to think when people are under stress and don't have time that they could take more time out to take a class. And then people were still a little nervous about going out and about. But I got a lot of really good feedback from people. And so what I did was I created a course. And there are 4 modules in this course. And so what I will do, it's all online. I'll help you set a budget, and I'll help you gain more energy, because what we will do is look at food that gives you energy, food that zaps your energy. We're going to talk a whole lot more about setting healthy boundaries, and we can talk specific and how to deal with toxic relationships. If you have an ex or someone that's just not, very kind to you, we will definitely look at how to deal with that. And then we're going to look at how to take care of ourselves. And I'm really learning how to do that. So I think that's really important. So I want to talk about this course. What you will get with this course is 4 private Facebook group coaching sessions. So I'm going to keep the group small to 20 people. We're going to have high energy recipes we can all share, but I have been searching all year since last November for high energy recipes that you can bake gluten-free, sugar-free, and some are dairy-free. And we're going to look at ways to deal with the loss over the holidays. Many of you know that we lost a son. He was killed by a drunk driver when he was 20 years old. He was a sophomore at college. He was killed 2 days before Thanksgiving. And so the holidays changed forever for us. And I can share what's worked for us and how we got through that. The first holiday, I don't remember, but after that, and we didn't do Christmas the same way for a while. And then we started having beautiful grandkids, and I wanted them to know that Christmas and Thanksgiving are pretty special. So we started doing great things. And I don't know if any of you know this, but 1 out of 10 marriages survive the loss of a loved one. So 9 out of 10 people get a divorce after the loss of a loved one. And the main reason is you grieve differently. And so there were some tough times for us, but I can help you figure out some things that have worked for us, and others might have some ideas too. So if we've lost a loved one, whether it's a spouse, a child, a parent, a good friend, the holidays are always hard, and they're not as much fun as they're supposed to be, whatever that means. And so the value of this course that I'm offering online, there's going to be 4 group coach sessions. I usually charge $50 a group session. And then we're going to have recipes. We're going to have I have stages of grief, and I have all kinds of info and resources and tips and tricks. And so the total value of this 4-module course is $300. And what I'm charging is $39. And for the first 10 people to sign up for this course, it's $19. Now I have 4 people on the waiting list already, and some of you are on this course. So what I will be doing is sending you the link right after this workshop, and you can sign up. But the 4 people that already are on the waiting list will get automatically in when they click in. And so then I still have room for 7 people at $19, and then after that the next 10 will be $39. And this money is going to be donated to our local Calumet County food pantry. I'm not in it for the money. What I'm really in this for is I love teaching online. I love running group coaches. That's what I get out of this. And it's just more fun for me when we can keep each other accountable. I feel like I have to be a role model here, so I have to take better care of myself if I expect everybody else to take care of them. And so Kay's going to put this registration into the chat, and you can just click on that. So if you're interested, and if you go to this, you can read more about it. Doesn't mean you have to you don't automatically register by going here, but I take PayPal and credit cards. And so you can sign up that way. But the whole address has to be in there. So it has to be https:// and then the www.wellness4lifecoaching.com/ and take control of the holidays. So as I said, Kay's going to put that in the workshop, in the chat, and then you will be able to just click on that link if you're interested. And I'll come back to this in a minute. But many people have doubts. So I'm going to look for the doubt one. this is with the other courses. I teach other courses online, and these are the doubts. So first of all, people will say, I don't have enough time to take a course on learning how to have more time. But what's nice about this is it's 4 modules. You can pick and choose what information you want to go in. There's some videos, there's some handouts. You can join the live coaching sessions. And if you can't attend those, there's a link in the course on our private Facebook group. And you can either attend live or you can watch the replays. And again, if you can attend live, you can bring your own issue and we can role play and practice right in the group session of how you're going to deal with this issue. The next one is I don't have the money. I totally get that. Times are tough. For me, it's a dinner out or it's hamburger versus steak, but I totally get that. And what I'm doing with this course is after the holidays, my web developer gave me this really good idea. She said, there's so much good information in here. Why would you just keep it for the holidays? Let them, especially with boundaries and toxic relationships and taking better care of ourselves. That should be for any gathering, for any holiday, for any year round. So I'm going to be updating it after the holidays because I do want to take care of myself. But I'm going to add a lot more information. It's not going to just be for the holidays. It's going to be just taking better care of ourselves year round. And it's going to have a lot more information. So it will be more expensive because if you decide to go into this course, you will have lifetime access to this course, and all the new updates, you will just be given the new updates. They'll just be in the course. And so you can have all the new information at no extra cost. And that's just because you were kind enough to join this first one. Some people told me it's too hard to change, and change is hard. I just really believe that. And that's why we're going to practice in this group, and I'm going to help you. I will answer some emails. I will let you text me. And so I think I'm just going to say, let's see if ask people to share if it works for them. Okay. Yeah. So the link is in the chat. If you can click on it, if someone would just click on it, Lori, if you wouldn't mind, or Marla or Sarah, somebody just click on the link and see if it takes you to the right page. That would be really great. Thanks. But yeah, it's really hard to change, but we're going to practice. I'm going to be your mentor and your coach, and I'm going to help you get through this. And I do private laser coaching too, if at any point you want to do that. So it's true. And you can do this on your own. Absolutely, you can do this on your own. It's just not as much fun. I have another private group called Finding More Joy. And I did a workshop where actually 150 people were on it, but somebody else did the technology part. So I was pretty lucky, but we kept that group going, and we discussed the Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, which is wonderful, by the way, great Christmas present. But we got together and discussed that, and we had so much fun. We had a great deal of joy. So it's a lot more fun. So for $19, it's really fun to join together. So let's see if somebody says I have to sign out. Okay, great. See you later. Thanks for joining. So again, here's the link. The link worked well. Oh, and somebody just signed up. Thank you so much, Marla. Perfect. It worked. And we have students. So you're number 5 in the course. Perfect. And let me see. I want to just show you this slide. That's the email. And if there's any questions at all, put them in the I just want to show this. My hubby took a picture of me working one day. This is my office. And so it's nothing fancy. I have a very cheap screen behind me. I have some cheap lights to make my face light up. In front of me is a list of all the slides that I was working on. But the reason I wanted to put this on here is I'm a strong believer of affirmations, whether they are saying things out loud or visuals. This candle I have burning right there is a reminder for me to take care of myself. I should have taken picture of my water bearer too. Someone gave me a little statue of a water bearer, and she's an elderly lady crunched over, and she carries a bucket of water on her back, and she takes it out to the people in the field. Of course, this is many, many years ago. And the number one rule is that she has to take a drink first before she can give a drink to anyone else. She can't even leave the yard or wherever she is until she's well satiated, because then she can help other people drink too. And so I have that standing in my office that reminds me to take enough drinks of water, but also to take care of myself. So then I can do these workshops and I can help others and join with others. And so that little candle is my reminder. It's set on my little heater because I just always have to be warm and cozy. So I just wanted to show you where I work so you can see me when I'm Zooming. Wanted to share everything is under Wellness for Life Coaching. My sister Kay and her company helped me develop my logo and my name, and I'm very thankful for them. But it's the number 4 because the word 4 was already taken. So wellnessforlifecoaching.com is my website. My name just has in front of it. Please join. This is my general business website. And once you join the class, you'll be given a private Facebook website or Facebook link that we can all go in and do it together. So yay, somebody else signed up and it worked well. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for everyone to be doing that. So I'm going to go back. I think that's my last slide. I think I have one more slide, and that's pretty much my thank you slide. I so appreciate everyone hanging in there with me. It's exactly 1 hour because we did start a couple of minutes late, but this has been so much fun. I have no idea why I was so nervous. This is just great. And it's been recorded, or it is recorded. So you'll get a recording if there's other people you want to share with. I ask that you at least give them my link so that I can get their email. One of my goals is to grow my email list. Another goal is to have more people join my workshops so that we can just spread the word. It's so important to stay safe. And I want that for all of you. And for those of you that I hope you learned some things through this, and I hope you found some things inspirational. And thank you for the kind words. And I will be saving the all of the chat. I can just click on the save chat, and if there are no other questions, we will be signing off. And please have a safe Thanksgiving. Can't believe it's next week already, but have a safe Thanksgiving. And for those, I know some of you will be traveling over the holidays, please have a safe holiday season, and we'll see all of you soon. Thank you.